look at what Jesse Winker has done through 33 games this season. The average leads the National League at .346, 7 bombs, an OPS of .994. Dero, as I said, going to break, he's one of the better hitters in the game, and we don't really talk about him. So
I agree, Robert. And
take it away.
It does so many things fundamentally sound. He really does in the box. And another thing, 50% of the game, I truly believe, is confidence at this level. What separates you? Jesse Winker steps in the box, and he knows he rakes. It oozes off of him. The ability to go the other way, the ability to handle all pitches. And I don't think that we kind of have focused on him at all within the Cincinnati season this far. And I think if I asked who's been some of the best 10 hitters in the game since the start of 2020, I think the names that kind of jump out at you, you kind of be on top of it. The Mike Trouts of the world, the Juan Sotos of the world, Ronald Acuna Jr. Brandon Belt's interesting for me, gotten hot. Look at Jesse Winker sitting in that 155. Weighted runs created plus, and it's park adjusted. I know people can say they talk about the Colorado effect for the guys in Colorado or playing in Great American Airport, they used to call it when Sean Casey was going Oppo Bridge there. Not the case. When you put that plus on, we're park adjusting everything. So he stacks up. Dive into the next board, because I think for me there's been a little bit of a change. And Eric Nays, researcher to the stars, dives into the numbers. Jesse Winker's always been an on-base guy. Take a look at it. 2017 through 19, 379 on base. This year, with 2020, a little uptick in it, 393. But what I believe is, take a look at the strikeout rate. Not a guy that struck out a ton. 15.2% here, 23.5. So you got to give to get a little bit. So what does he do? I'm willing to strike out a little bit more to get that hard hit percentage to start to climb by about 11%. And then all of a sudden the barrels go up, and next thing you know, my doubles are turning into homers. And I think that's what you're seeing. A guy who knows the game, knows he's good. So let's dive into a little B-roll right here, because he does a lot of things really well at the plate that make him successful. One thing I've noticed, and we could sit here for a second, this is the grind, right? 2019, little more into his legs, sticking his nose in there. Then all of a sudden, 2020, he shows up and he almost wants to lean back, get a little taller. I think he's almost standing almost static right here in 2021, which screams to me, when I see a guy that goes from a crouch to more of a taller stance, two things. Wants to be the best athletic version of himself, start tall, and I think it helps you know where your barrel is. I really do. I think the guys that really tuck down, don't get me wrong, the Ricky Hendersons of the world made it work like nobody's business. But I do believe when you stick your nose in there, you have a tendency to lose where your barrel's at. And I think when you're standing strong and you know everything's working around you, he does some things so fundamentally sound. So let's dive in, okay? Let's take you through Jesse Winker, because he can hit some balls into orbit. And what has he been able to do really well lately, okay? He's a guy that works the ball line to line, right there, opposite field, big time. Rack that back. I love a side angle, because he's not a guy who gets a huge load. This is a guy that kind of glides on his front side into his swing. Take a look at that. Look at the barrel. Run that back one more time, Lucas. Come slow. Right here. Keep it coming, keep it coming, keep it. Stop it. Back up just a little bit. Look at him drop that barrel. That barrel's in the zone back behind him. Now all he has to do is turn. Keep going. And he can beat you to the other way. He can beat you to dead center, and he can beat you to pole side. Something that's picked up for him. Ambushing guys a little bit more. His career splits on the first pitch. From 2017 to 2019, he only swung about 23% of the time. Now north of 30% of the time. So that's Jack Flaherty. Back that up, because that's not a get-me-over heater. That's not a four-seamer. Give me it all away, Lucas. Check this out. Run it. I mean, that's got a little spin in it, people. That's a little cut slider, kind of get-me-over off-speed pitch that he absolutely destroys the other way into Cincinnati's bullpen. So he's picked up the ambush tactics as well. All of a sudden, what happens? Feels comfy. He starts picking up the opposite field damage as well. And that's when you go next level. When you know you don't have to cheat to anything and you can take 92, rack that back for me real quick. Watch this location on this pitch. I mean, this is what you're striving for, right? Down and away heater, maybe catches a little bit too much of the plate. But if he's thinking pull side, that's probably a rollover to the second baseman into the shift. No, stays through it, drives it out the other way, and that has helped him. This is a classic Piero we love to nail on the show. I love this. Okay, the ability to go line to line, 17 opposite field homers, tied for 5th most in baseball. And what I want to focus on, can we bring up that last board, S-Rod? Because this is the big thing for me. Highest slug to the opposite field since 2019, minimum 75 plate appearances. Listen, no one does it better when he's healthy than Aaron Judge in that short porch in Yankee Stadium. But my man Jesse Winker, 982 slug the other way. Kyle Schwarber, some old Cubbies, Javi Baez. So a guy in the NL Central, there's a lot to fall in love with. The Vottos, the Castellanos, everything around the Cincinnati Reds. Jesse Winker is one of those confident guys. One of the best hitters in the National League the last 2 years.
Leads the league right now in batting average, the National League.